All right, yeah, thank you guys for being here. I know we're still a week out from today, so we haven't exchanged depth charts as of today. I think that's going to happen probably in the next couple of days. So we really can't really talk about much about depth chart issues from either side, either team, us or them. Once we get that, obviously we'll put that out probably midweek, and then we'll probably know a little bit more about that. Couple of things for us. One thing, Jordan Davis, one of our tight end, he's got to miss the first 2 games. When we first got here, he was going to put on his own academic probation. He was going to miss 4 games, but then got enough hours to where they cut it back to 2 games. So he's going to have to miss the first 2 games. That's what kind of hurts our tight end room a little bit there. But he's been practicing, looking good, doing a lot of good things, and so he'll be back for our 3rd game of the season. And then P.J. Blue is a player that he got hurt about a week ago, hurt his knee. We found out it's an ACL, so he'll be out for the rest of the season. He's had surgery and getting that thing back on the mend. So those are two things that we needed to put out there. I think overall coming out of camp, pretty healthy. P.J. Blue was really the one that was that's out for the season. Everybody else will be back. A couple guys that are dinged, but they'll be back here in the next week or 2. Malik's been back at practice. Came back, I think 3 or 4 practices ago, and every day he's doing more and more and more. So he'll be back in the mix. I think just looking at the rest of the team, but we're fairly healthy coming out of camp, even though it was a pretty physical camp. And looking at the numbers of scrimmage plays that we had where we're actually tackling. I think that's a big issue when you start the season is the tackling part. I think as you watch that Saturday night, watching the Florida-Miami game, wasn't great tackling out there. Both defenses flew around and were fast, but, you could see a lot of missed tackling, and I think that's just early in the season. I think that's what you're going to see from a lot of teams, just the way we practice now. And, that's the one thing that that's the unknown, is tackling. And then I think also the first games, it's also the sloppiness of first games, I think, sometimes. The NFL gets so many preseason games, and college we don't get that. We have to scrimmage each other, and then all of a sudden you're coming out and you're playing a game, and you don't look as sharp as you'd like to look. And as a coach, that's always something that, you're shaking your head at, with the false start penalties. I'm talking pre-snap penalties. And, that's the one thing that we're trying to harp on so we can play a clean game. And taking care of the football and eliminating those pre-snap penalties, I think, is huge. It gives you a chance, and so it's very frustrating when that doesn't happen. But we're excited about heading into this week and getting ready to play Notre Dame. We'll open up with questions. Yeah. Well, with the time that he's missed, Malik, Juwan will start for us, and a lot of it's going to depend on how he does over the next couple of days. And but he's looking good. I mean, he's throwing the ball. He's doing a lot of things. Which with Malik, his strength is running, and so you want to be able to do that at 100%. And so we'll know a lot more by the end of the week with Malik as whether or not he'll be there. Evan's gotten a ton of reps. That's what we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. The benefit of this thing for Evan is that he gets thrown in the fire throughout practice, and for a true freshman, that's always difficult. And he's done a great job with that, learning our offense and making all the reads and that type of thing. But, he obviously never played in a game. But he obviously will be there and be available.
It's got to know what Jordan, obviously, was something you guys knew and prepared for, but still at least you kind of
Yeah, it does. And, Ian coming in, the Vandy transfers really helped. He's been a great, player for us at the Y position. He's done some great things doing that throughout camp because he was kind of an unknown. We're bringing him in. Jordan Ford's forward or tight end has done the H-back has done a great job there in the H-back position, but it does leave you thin at the Y position. And and that's something we've kind of been knowing about, so we've kind of ready for it, and so we'll see how that goes as we move throughout the game. But obviously it'll be a great when we get him back. He's done some great things, very athletic, very great size. Made a spectacular play on Saturday at practice in the red zone. He does a lot of good things, and he's a guy that when we got here, people were like, attitude, this or that. And, but he's been great. He's worked his tail off all off season, and for the opportunity, like I said, he got those extra hours he needed to eliminate the 4-game suspension just to get the 2. And he's excited to try to get out there and have an opportunity to play his senior year.
Coach, you were a part of what's generally regarded as the biggest upset in contemporary college football, and I'm wondering if there's anything that you, in preparation for Notre Dame, that you can take and apply to the Cards opener against Notre Dame.
I think it was completely different scenarios in the fact that we were a team back then that just come off 2 national championships, and we were rolling and really good football team, even though we're a lesser level, and I think that day we had 58 players on scholarship, but they were accustomed to winning and playing hard and all the things that so we're all new here. We have a new staff and everything's new, and so it's kind of hard to correlate that. I think the fact that we're a big underdog and we're playing a well-known team that's coming in here, that I think that's the correlation, but it may stop right there. We have not seen our guys play a game yet. We don't know how they're going to go out and react in a game situation. All our preparation that we've put in, we've got a good idea, but you don't fully know until we put the ball down and let's snap the ball and see what happens. And so I know this is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for our guys to go out and showcase what they've been working hard to do and to play. So we're, as coaches, are anxious to get out there. All right, see where we're at with everybody, and let's put this ball down. Let's play a game. I think anytime you go through a camp like this and an off season, particularly with all the change that we've had with the coaching staff, and then the kind of year that Louisville had last year, I mean, everybody's ready to step up and play a new season. Yep. No, I mean, not necessarily those games. It's just the way we practice and the way we prepare. We had to talk about it last week in the middle of the week about how, our chase teams, which we call them chase teams, which is our scout teams. I mean, our chase teams, because they're chasing the depth chart. We're always trying to develop those guys, and so I want them to go extremely hard on our chase teams, offense, defense, and our special teams there, trying to give a great look. We talk about how hard they got to practice, and I don't know how they've practiced in the past here, and so we had a ways to go with that. So in the middle of last week, we're like, listen, this is not good enough the way we're practicing. Once we got into those chase team looks, I'm saying prior to that, we're just good on good, so everybody's going hard. But once you get into the chase team looks, now, we're bringing guys that are freshmen or guys that just got here. They're trying to give us a look. Well, we're having to coach those guys up. All right, here's what we need out of you guys, and you got to go hard. You got to go as hard, if not harder, than what we're going to play on next Monday night. And so we're really coaching through that. And that's in all the preparation. I mean, that's where you win or lose games. It's throughout the week and the preparation. It's not that day. It's not that Monday night. It's all the other stuff leading up to that. And we got to get there, and that's still a work in progress. How we prepare each and every week. Now, Friday and Saturday's practice was better Friday, then Saturday was better than Friday. So it's just we're growing. Well, we still got a ways to go, and that's that's what we're working on. That's how you win football games. It's the preparation, the speed of the game. That's the one thing that's hard to simulate, and so that's why we got to go fast and hard. I know sometimes teams, they don't hurt our starters, don't hurt these guys. You guys give us a look, but don't really hurt those guys. Well, I want our chase teams to go hard, wide open, and sometimes if you're hitting our guys, that's fine. That's football, right? We got pads on. We're just playing football. That's the way we coach our guys, and so. We got to get better at that, and we have over the last 2 practices. But we got to continue to do that, and that'll be something that we have to develop over a period of time.
Scott, what's concerned? If you guys have a question, raise your hand. If you bring the mic to you, please. Well, raise your hand.
Yeah.
What's concerned you the most about Notre Dame when you're looking at them?
I think just their overall size and speed. I mean, when you look at that, it's what we going back and looking at last year, and some of these guys that are 6'4", 260, playing linebacker. I mean, that's pretty impressive the size and speed that they have. Because when you have that length, you can cover a lot of ground. I'm talking defensively, and they're coached well. I mean, these guys are where they're supposed to be, and then they play hard and they're coached well. They've played in huge games, big games. Obviously, just came off of the Final Four last year, and a team that was outstanding all year. And particularly when you look at, I think it was their Wake Forest game, their fourth game, when they made the change at quarterback and they brought the Book kid in. I mean, their scoring went up the rest of the season after that point. I mean, so he's a threat. What he brings to the table. They have 4 starters back on offensive line that are solid up front, big guys that can move. It's just a talented team. I mean, Notre Dame, every year they go get the best players throughout the country. And, so it's like whenever they do lose some guys, I mean, the next guys that are in are just as good. Coach Kelly and his staff have done an outstanding job. They've built great depth. I think he may have he's one of the longest tenured guys there, and that's a tough job there. You just scrutinize everything that you do. He's withstood that with those naysayers throughout, in the middle there, and done an outstanding job. So I think just the overall program, the way they play, offense, defense, kicking, there's really not a ton of weaknesses, I think, when you look at it, because they can do so many different things on all facets. Yep. This week, I don't really have any worries this week. I think for us, it's just about preparing the right way. This is our first game, so we're having to go through everything that we're going to do leading up to that first game, and including, like today, we're having a mock game where we're just basically a run-through of next Monday night. I mean, we got to go over pregame warm-up, where everybody stands. I mean, how we're going to warm up, when you come to the locker room, what you're going to do when you come to the locker room, halftime. I mean, there's just so many things we got to go over, and we're trying to prepare for everything, and and it's the first game. I mean, so the new staff that we've brought in, they don't really understand what we're doing yet. Of course, all the players haven't done it yet. So those are the things that as a coach, you just want to be fully prepared for everything, and that's what we're trying to do, is get fully prepared and, and to try to cover everything that we can, and that may come up on that next Monday night. Yep.
Back here. At what point did the magnitude or the reality of what you have here and taking over sink in with you, or is it just sinking in now, especially with all the things that you just mentioned, all the logistics you just mentioned?
I mean, it was the magnitude really sunk in the day that I came to the press conference. I mean, it's a pretty big deal, right? I mean, it was a lot of people out there, and it's not like Boone, North Carolina, where we had 2 reporters. I mean, there's a lot of reporters there and a lot of people, and you're in the ACC. I mean, it's big time. And so as soon as I got here, I mean, it was reality's hitting. Hey, it's go time now. And so we've just tried to do the best job we can do with the hand that we're dealt, the guys that we've had, and what can we do to get these guys in position to make plays. And that's kind of what we've been focusing on. How much better can we get, and all those things. Now, there's a short period of time between then, I knew it then, and Notre Dame. I mean, it's not a very long time to get ready for Notre Dame. And this season. I mean, it's a great schedule we have, one of the toughest schedules in the country. So we've done a good job of getting to this point right now. I know it's big. It's a big deal. And, we're anxious to get out and see where we're at and see kind of where we need to go from here.
Yeah, as a follow-up, how much did that change your approach compared to how you did things before? I mean, what things have you learned from this that you're applying now that you see kind of working now?
Well, we've really kind of stuck with what we've done just all along. I mean, I think you are who you are. I don't think you want to change anything that's gotten you to the point you've gotten in your career. If it's working before, it's going to work now. At the bottom line is, in this game of football, there's 11 guys on the field at all times. I mean, you can't have 12. There's 11 guys, and then the different ways you can configure those 11 guys, there's only so many ways. So I think so many times people they get confused, and they try to do too much. Let's do what we do, and let's get good at it. And so we've tried to stay exactly the way our plan of how we're going to get prepared and how we're going to get ready, and not change that. I mean, we've got there's a process of how you prepare yourself to play, and we've got to do that. Now, you've got to put players on the field. Don't get me wrong. You got to have great players. This is a game full of great players, and you have to have that if you want to be able to compete. But as coaches, we have who we have now, and the guys that are here, we got to put them in the best possible chances to make plays. A lot of teams can beat themselves. We don't want to do that.
Coach, Scott, what areas in your team have you seen are you most confident in, and are there any guys who've sort of really impressed you by their performance in fall camp?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the receiver room, which we've talked about, I mean, I feel really good about 5 or 6 guys in that room, particularly Tutu Atwell. I think he could have a great year. I mean, he can play for anybody in the country. I mean, he's that kind of talent. He reminds me of the T.Y. Hilton that we had at FIU, who's with the Colts now. Very similar type player. And then I think, with Seth Dawkins and Fitz out there, I mean, I feel pretty good about our receiving core. Guys we have some good weapons out there. I feel good about our 1-0 line. I think they're solid. They'll give us an opportunity there. And I think we have some depth at the running back position. I really do. I feel good about that. I think linebackers, our inside backers, I feel good about that. The depth that we have there, the 1s, 2s, really 4 guys that are in that room, an inside linebacker room. I think you'd like to have a lot more depth at every other position. I think the one concerning thing is the depth, and we've talked about that. I mean, I really feel like there's a bit of a drop off between our starters and then our second team, and that's just because of, I think, several reasons. I think obviously when we got here, some guys left, so that hurts your depth, and then we didn't have a chance to recruit like you'd like by the time we got here in December. That hurts your depth. So I think that's probably the weakness there. We got to stay healthy at every position. I think that's a critical factor. And then when you get a guy like Jordan Davis that can't play the first time, I mean, that hurts your depth right off the bat, in the first game. So we got to continue to build our depth.
Coach, at this point, how happy are you with Juwan Pass's accuracy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been really good. I think he's had some days, a lot of days, where and we chart every pass in practice, where he's above 74, 73%, right around, hovering in the 70s, which is outstanding. He's had some days where he's down around 50%. We'd like for him to be in at least 60, I think, in order to give us a chance to win. We're going to take some shots down the field, so a lot of times, when you're taking shots, you're not going to complete a big majority of those, but you are stretching the defense out. You're making them, hey, you better back up, those type of things. But we got to be able to hit the intermediate short passes. We got to be a very high percentage in those, and he's done a good job with that. And I think, there's times, man, he looks unbelievable, like really, really good. I mean, he's big, tall, strong quarterback. When he stands in there and really follows through, I mean, he looks like you're supposed to look. There's times when his footwork's off and the ball sails on him. But he's gotten a lot better with that. But no, I think he got an opportunity to really have a good season and play well for us.
As an overall QB, what do you think was his biggest strength that he improved on, and maybe his biggest weakness?
Yeah, I think the strength probably, and I don't know how much they tried to run him in the past, but every time we've scrimmaged the defense, he's had some big runs, like really big runs, and has scored on the run most scrimmages. And so I think that's an added dimension that he's got to his game now, that he's embraced. As before maybe felt like more I have a pocket, more of a quarterback that I'm going to sit in the pocket. But he's been able to expand our running game with the Q runs. I think that helps. He's got a good arm. The thing that he's worked on, I think, in the offseason is the deep ball, to where he's given those guys an opportunity to make plays down the field. And that'll be huge, because every game we're going to play, there's going to be guys running free in the back end. We got to be able to hit them. Every game we'll have it 100%. He's just got to be able to hit him, because we talk about a guy running free and I overthrow him. We might as well just hand the ball off, right? I mean, that's a missed opportunity. So you got to drop the ball on there, give those guys a chance to make plays, and we got guys that can make plays. Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, one of their better players, I think, is number 42. I don't know, he had close to 10 sacks last year. I mean, he is a speed guy off the edge. You got to know where he's at all times. And he can cause havoc. He's more of a stand-up defensive end that's getting in the backfield. But then 53, their other end, he's solid. I mean, he's 6'4", 260, strong, good run stopper, but also can put pressure on the quarterback. So I think you got those two ends right there that cause a lot of problems for offenses. When you have those two defensive ends, then now you're going to put pressure on the quarterback. Now he's got to be able to step up, make a throw you don't want to make. I like number 11 for them, the safety. I mean, he's He's 5'11", 200. He's not really big, but man, he's active. I mean, he's very active. He gets down in the run game and tries to, he'll blitz him. He does a lot of things with what they do defensively. And then their corner, number 5, Tony Pride. I think he's a very good corner, and they're not scared to play man. We call it breathalyzer defense. I mean, they're right up in your face like this right here. I mean, so they can play that man to man, and it makes it tough on those wideouts because they're getting their hands on them. We got to be able to get off that press coverage and make some plays down the field, because I'm assuming they're going to try to load the box up, stop the run, and we're going to have some one-on-one matchups. So our guys are going to have to win. They're going to have to win those one-on-one matchups, and that, to me, it'll come down to a lot of that of what kind of plays can we make on the outside here with our wide receivers and Jawan making those throws.
You've been pretty good about managing expectations, presenting a calm exterior, changing the culture here. Are we going to see a different guy on the sidelines Monday? Is there a maniac inside?
Well, I mean, maybe. Sometimes we may. It depends on if we play sloppy. You will. I can't stand sloppy play. I can't stand it. But I want to have a calm demeanor on the sideline, no matter what's happening, winning or losing, whatever it may be. Have an even demeanor, and I think the guys will feed off of that. We've talked about it in the past. I mean, I've been in games. 3 years ago in a bowl game, we're down 24-7 at the end of the third quarter and come back and win. Just because you got to have that confidence to know that you can do that. The guys, we're not going to panic. We're going to stay within the moment. But yeah, there's times where you get to a point where you're going to get on somebody and you're going to go off. So, but I hope not to do that. I hope we can stay poised. Because I want our kids to play that way. I want our kids to play fast, play extremely physical, but also have that poise inside of them that the moment's not going to be too big for them. That when things happen, we're going to face adversity. How we're going to react to it. I mean, that's we want these guys to be able to react in a way that we can overcome whatever adversity that may happen. Yeah, they'll be on the sideline. The coordinators will be on the sideline, and we'll have some of our assistants up top. The way we do it offensively is that we're all meeting together and we're all coming up with our game plan. Everybody's got input on our game plan. I'll call the play, but we're all working together. I mean, we're in constant communication. We have a great working relationship with the guys in there, with Dwayne, with Frank Ponce, and I've worked with those two for many years. So a lot of times when the defense is on the field, we're talking about what we're coming back with. All right, and so that's just how we've done it for years. And so, but somebody's got to call it. I'll call it, and then Coach Brown will be on the sideline, and he's calling the defense. And so, same thing though. Court Dennis is going to be up top and relaying down what he's seeing offensively, what they're trying to do. So, I believe in the team effort and the coaching staff to be able to get us in the best possible plays. And so, but that's how we'll operate. All the coordinators will be on the sideline.
What things have you encouraged about the defense? Compared to where camp first started.
Yeah, our defense is predicated on everybody being in their gaps, and we've gotten a ton better with that. If you get out of a gap in this defense, then you're going to get gashed. The thing we talk about whenever that does happen, and it will, then we got to get the guy down on the ground and then play the next play. We don't want to give up those big chunk plays. I think that's the critical thing. They've done a lot better job with not giving up those big plays defensively, staying on top in the secondary, and then chasing the football. The one thing, the way we practice on defense and what we've done in the past is we have a chase tape, meaning the defense has to hold, all 11 guys have to chase wherever the ball's at with our with our scout team. So our scout team offense runs a play, all 11 have to go get to that football. They're not accustomed to that. We're still coaching through that. I mean, they got to haul tail. I mean, they got to go as fast as they can to get to that football. Chasing the football is huge. There's a clip that in the Hawaii game from Saturday night, Arizona, the last play when the quarterback breaks off, you guys may have seen it, where the D-line rushes the quarterback takes off, and he's out of the play probably. Well, the quarterback continues to run, and this D-line never quit, and it ends up tackling him on the 2-yard line before he scores to win the game. That's the kind of hustle that we got to play with, that D-lineman, and that's the way we do it at practice, because now it's second nature when you get into the football games. We're still learning how to practice that way. But we've gotten a lot better at it. We've gotten a lot better at that, chasing the ball, staying on top, and then staying in our gaps. Now, we're not where we need to be 100%, but we're getting a lot better at it.
Scott, you've talked a lot about depth and lack of, but one position you keep saying is the running back where you have it. How have you seen those guys progress?
Yeah.
And do you want to use one guy or multiple guys?
We'll probably use multiple guys there. I think, Hassan's been very, very solid. Hawkins has really come on the last week and a half, done some great things there. Dale Williams. I think it'll, all those guys will probably play. And then we'll see kind of, who's got the hot hand, who's seeing it very well, and kind of go from there. But we're pleased with the progress those guys have made. We got to take care of the football there. We don't want to put the ball on the ground. That's going to be huge. All the guys have done a good job with that throughout camp, but all those guys will play. Yeah. Well, my first thought was they're not giving me enough time before we play this game. That was the first thought. I told Vince, I was like, man, you could have at least given a little bit more time. Start out with somebody else. I don't know. But that was the first thought. And then, after that, I'm like, kind of put it out of my head, really. I mean, from that point forward, it was like, what can we do to get better as a team and not really worry about who we're playing? And we really, the last two practices, 2.5, we've kind of looked at going against these guys. But prior to that, it's all been about ourselves and how we can get better. It's a big game. I mean, it's a huge. They're all big, though. I mean, for me, every single one of them are big. And the way we try to see it, we try to treat it in the same way at App. And all these years when we beat Michigan, you played Tennessee to overtime, Penn State. You try to go out and do what you do. Play your game plan, whatever that is. You don't try to do something that you can't do. I think sometimes in games like this, sometimes players think they got to do a little bit more. You don't have to do a little bit more. You have to do what you do. Whatever you're coached to do and whatever your job is, just do that. Don't do anything more than that. And I think, as a coach, that sometimes worries you about your players. They may try to step out and do a little too much. Just do what you're supposed to do, and then we'll be fine. That'll be good enough. And so, that's how I'm approaching this game and every game, quite frankly.
Drill down a little bit on talk about the Hawaii game. Were you actually watching that game, or did somebody steer it?
No, I watched it early in the game, but that was too late. I was asleep by then. But I did watch the whole Florida-Miami game. But, no, I saw it the next day, maybe on social media. I think I saw it on Twitter. Somebody was putting it out there. I forget who it was. And they had that one clip. So I cut it on. I was like, man, that's awesome. What that kid did was awesome. The way he played. We're going to show the team that clip today. I think there's always opportunities to learn. I mean, I'm a football junkie, so I try to watch all these games, and my wife says, how do you do that? Because you're watching football all day. Well, I just love it. I don't know. It's fun to me. And that for me, that's entertaining, but at the same time, I'm trying to learn. So we're watching this Florida-Miami game, and I'm seeing all this poor tackling. I'm seeing sloppy play. And so, whatever you can learn out of these games, to me, it helps us. Let's try to learn from them. But that was a great point in that game where that kid, the game's on the line, he did not quit. He's a D tackle and runs all the way down to the 2-yard line to win the game. It's incredible. And sometimes those plays go unnoticed because it could happen in the first quarter too. I've been a part of games where guys break off a big run and all of a sudden we chase him down. We didn't quit. We tackle him inside the 10. We hold him to a field goal. We end up winning by 3 at the end,
Players have readily admitted that there was an effort problem last year.
Mhm.
Is this something that you need to reinforce?
We reinforce it every day. We want to be an effort-based program. We want to play as hard as we can play every snap. And when we don't practice that way, we point it out every single day. And that, to me, that is how you prepare. If we're playing with not enough effort, lack of effort, that means we didn't prepare with effort. So it should be ingrained in our program. And that is something that we're harping on every single day. And we're not there yet. We're not where we need to be with that. We'll get better with it every single day. All right. Thank you, guys.